Vacaville. This is the regularly scheduled City of Vacaville Council meeting for February 14th on Valentine's Day. Will you start us off with a roll call?
Council Agency Authority Member Stock, Ritchie, Silva, Chapman, here. Robert, Vice Mayor, Vice Chair Wiley, Mayor Chair Roulette, or Carly.
I'm here. I'm here. Will you please rise with me and we'll have a moment of silence followed by the pledge. Councilmember Chapman, will you lead us in the pledge? United States of America, which is stand. Thank you. With that, approve the agenda. Any changes tonight?
No changes, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second? Chapman with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 5. We'll move on for presentation. Seeing none, we'll move to the consent calendar. Anyone on the council wishing to pull an item for discussion? Did I miss something?
Go back to the approval of the minutes.
Oh, excuse me. Approval of the minutes. I got ahead of myself.
Motion to.
Okay, do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we'll move on. And there are no presentations, so we'll move on to item 6, consent calendar. Any member of the council wishing to pull an item for discussion? Seeing none, any member of the public wishing to pull an item that's on consent calendar? Okay, if it's not on the agenda, that'll be next. Okay, absolutely. That's fine. Thank you for coming. So seeing none, we will move for a motion on our consent calendar.
Is it too late to pull something?
No, it's not too late.
Sorry, guys.
You made it here, so.
Please pull 6C.
So 6C from consent calendar. So he's asking, Councilmember Silva is asking to pull item 6C for discussion. So with that, do I have a motion to move all items A, B, D, and E? We have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. With that, then we will take up item 6C. You have a comment?
Sorry, everybody. Son's in soccer practice and got locked out of locker room. So, and I ran up here. So real quick, 6C. So this is a request to allow for 15 units for seniors that are experiencing homelessness, or they would have a priority to access these facilities. I think it's something that's very worthwhile. But my concern, and this is really for council, is that we continue this area, whether it be Markham or the Aegean Way. This is where we have a lot of lower income area. And for this one, I want to thank Emily. We had some great conversations earlier today. If anybody in the public is concerned about it, this also includes there's accountability to it, is what I'm trying to get to. And so, like, if some of the residents aren't adhering to their policies, there is an accountability component to it all to help ensure that it's a safe environment, not just for all the residents there, but for the area as a whole. Beyond that, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the leadership that this council provides on how we share the wealth throughout the town. We continue to have more and more low income or housing first model placed within this particular area of Markham and Aegean. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we continue to make sure, again, we spread that wealth. So just want to make that comment. And with that, I'll motion to approve 6C.
Well, with it, since it's pulled, that we will open it up for public comment on this. But before we do that, any member of the council want to further that discussion before I open up to the public? Seeing none, I'm going to open up to the public if anyone wants to comment on 6C. Seeing none, I'll close public comment on 6C. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right. So we will move on. This is the business from the floor, item 7. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to address the council on any item that's not in the agenda, but that's in the authority of the council. So I will open it up to the public.
My name is Bob Dunn. I've been here before. And I'm here on behalf of the residents on North Leadertown Road in regard to the proposed battery energy storage system. Excuse me. This is not an appropriate site for the project due to the amount of homes surrounding the area. The facility could catch fire, which happens fairly frequently with these systems. This would risk catching neighborhood homes on fire, put the residents at risk of breathing toxic fumes. But we've talked about all that before. The closest house to the proposed project is on Mills Lane, just 480 feet away from the proposed facility that will house these batteries. A fire could easily spread to the homes. This area is in the Dixon Fire District. Although Vacaville may respond to a call about the specific facility or addresses, any other address used would likely go to Dixon. Are they aware of this? Will they be trained? Will they be prepared to respond to chemical fires of this magnitude? In the city presentation at the last meeting, there was a map that included the battery facility and the North Village subdivision. Unfortunately, it didn't include the North Village subdivision because you could see how big that battery storage facility would really be. All right. That's been my time. So also in the presentation, it was acknowledged that the project was rejected in the past, 2 times if I recall. I want to remind you that there's a reason that it was rejected, and I don't think it's because of the pool or that it was lacking the pool or tennis courts. It also went on to say that the developer was asked to find alternative sites, but couldn't find any that were viable. I wish City Manager Bush was here because I would like to hear why they didn't work and where those alternative sites were. Also, I would like to know what kind of site evaluation was done at Leisure Road. And I would really like an answer from.
Thank you for the comments. What we'll do is we'll take these comments and staff will be aware of these, and when city manager returns, that will clearly be part of the global discussion. This is nowhere near even coming to the council.
I'm aware of that, but I want to put this out there right now.
Appreciate your comments.
If I got a little more time, I'd like to keep going. I'm not against the pool or the tennis courts. I would much rather see this site as a large sports complex. I'm not against renewable energy either, but I am against anything that could pose a threat to my kids, my family, or others. And a large lithium-ion battery storage facility is this close to our homes is just that. I want to share an article that came out just a week ago called "Fires Sparked by Lithium Batteries Are Confounding Firefighters." And I'd like to read a couple lines if I could. I have copies for everyone, so I can leave them with you so you know that I'm not just...
You could give those to our staff, and we'll make sure it gets distributed.
Do I have a chance to read a couple lines?
We're out of time.
Got it.
Thank you for your comments. But we'll be happy to take your material. Thank you. Anyone else liking to address the council?
Excuse the shaky voice. This is my first time speaking. I have some pictures and I have 8
You can,
copies here.
and you'll be able to just give them to our staff as soon as you're done, but go ahead and share.
Okay. I am a Mills Lane resident. Um, and what you are doing, I, how do I want to put this? September 20th, 2022, I received a letter and it outlines that the Area 2, how you were coming across Leisure Town Road and putting houses in all this little area, in the whole area. You left out this little puzzle piece right here, and I was always kind of wondering why, you know. On November 10th, 2022, the folks who live on the PG&E side of Mills Lane, I don't do north-south, okay, received a letter from the city of Vacaville inquiring about buying 2 acres of property or their whole property for a Vaca Dixon battery storage facility. Now we have the end of Mills Lane that is going to be Menards and Vista. This particular letter that we had gotten has all the houses here, has this empty, and you explain how you were putting an additional 1,100 homes, single family homes in this area. Okay. And then you're going to put a bomb right in the middle of everything. These blow up, they burn. Everybody on the city council knows that. And you're putting it right in the middle of a residential area. January 8th, 2017, this is what the property looked like. 2017, full of water. This is a black and white showing the trees. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is in front of my house on February 17th. I call it Mills Lake. Now, mind you, when I bought my house in 2002, as an unmarried woman, I'm very proud of myself, thank you. I never thought that I would have to fight the city for my revenue. I understand the city needs revenue, but we all work for revenue, whether it's in our bank account or something that we pass down to our grandchildren. You have generations of folks, one of them sitting in the audience right now, who have lived on Mills Lane. January 9th, 2023. This is what that field looked like. How are you going to put a storage facility on an area, a battery storage facility that's flooded? How is it going to stay dry? How are we going to stay safe?
So, thank you. And, ma'am, if you could provide that material for us, we'll be able to distribute to the council at a time after this meeting. Appreciate your time and your word.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Happy Valentine's Day. What a night for a meeting. Huh? Tony Moras, I do appreciate the concerns folks have because we are, if not safe, we are not really here. I want to, let's see, I've done some research on the battery sites and all the good stuff. They're going in worldwide. They're going in across our nation. The state is mandating these battery parks in various areas in our state as it is now. I've got to believe that there's a level of safety or whatever built into these things that make these things safer than maybe earlier generations. Having said that, the current project, if you guys find it to be safe and suitable for that area, is going to bring that community benefit package. Like they mentioned, the sports complex, which we are arguing for, which if it doesn't happen with this project, if it eventually comes with a state mandated project, probably won't have that benefit with it. So all I'm saying is do your jobs, make sure it's safe, and we'll fit their reasonably well, and it happened. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Anyone else? Come forward. And just so it's understood that there isn't any decision in front of this council. This was the process that was brought to the council for further review to enter into an agreement to go down a road, but not for making any decisions. The city, as a council, there's no decisions being made at this point. It's to go down the process of being able to determine what is viable, what is safe, and what project can come back to the city. So go ahead.
Okay, well, mine, I just have several questions, and it's in regards to the battery storage facility. I don't live on Mills Lane, but I've got grandkids and then my great grandson on Mills Lane, right across a stone throw from this facility if it goes in. My question is, are there parameters set up for the distance from a residential area? If there is a failure at the facility, what and how does it affect the air we breathe? When the fire is put out, is there a residual effect to the groundwater or the soil? If evacuation is necessary, who will be responsible for the evacuation and the cost? If there is a pool in a sports complex, how long does it take for the smoke, fumes, etc., to dissipate if there is an incident? Not trying to be negative, but I think there's just smarter ways. I have one other idea right across from the substation on Meridian Road. There's a large piece of land with an old barn, old houses. I don't know that anybody lives there, but it is a huge piece of land, and it's further away than any of the other ideas that have come up. So I don't know if Menard, the city, somebody purchased that place and you could solve a lot of the problems. My ideas. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
I have a couple questions about the battery issue. These are questions from my neighbor Grover. He wasn't able to be here today. He was wondering what is the impact is, or what impact is this going to, or is this construction going to have on the surrounding area of the site? And has anyone discussed this new construction with the regional board of, or with persists on reporting or impacts to the groundwater remediation? Big with words. And has the regional water quality control board approved in writing the use of this site for this project?
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate you coming down, at least sharing what those concerns are, and that'll be used by staff in the comments from tonight as we move forward. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'm gonna close the public portion of the meeting and move on to item 8. There are no public hearings. So we will move to item 9A, business. What do we have?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. This first item is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of Vacaville and the City of Fairfield for the exchange of $1.5 million in regional transportation impact fee funding for the Vacaville-Jepson Parkway Phase 2 project. And we have Director of Public Works, Brian McLean, to present the item for you.
We're here destroying the table. Evening. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council. For your consideration tonight is a funding exchange for regional transportation impact fees between the City of Fairfield and the City of Vacaville. Some background on the Jepson Parkway project, which is fundamental to this funding exchange. The Jepson Parkway project is a multi-jurisdictional project between the City of Vacaville, Solano County, the cities of Fairfield, and Sassoon. The project provides for a continuous 4-lane roadway from south at Sassoon all the way north to I-80. It was adopted by the Solano Transportation Authority, the STA, in the year 2000. This is what Jepson Parkway looked like. This is what the City of Vacaville is transforming it into. There's a phased approach to the Jepson Parkway project. There are multiple segments. 3 of those segments are within the City of Vacaville, and the project, because of its length, has been segmented for design and construction purposes. The city first completed our first section, segment number 1, in 2018, and that was from Leisuretown Road, the widening of Leisuretown Road from Elmira all the way down to the city limit at Vanden Road. The next segment is phase 2 of Jepson Parkway, which is seen in this slide here, which is yellow banded area, and it runs from Elmira Road north to New Ulysses Creek, approximately adjacent to the Mission Church, about a mile long. Engineers' estimate on Jepson Parkway phase 2 is approximately $26 million. As part of the Jepson Parkway Phase 2 project, we have a funding source. It's called RTIF. It's the Regional Transportation Impact Fee. It's a transportation impact fee created by the Solano County Public Facility Fee, managed by the Solano Transportation Authority, coordinated between the 7 cities of Solano County. The City of Vacaville sits on a RTIF working group along with the City of Vacaville, and both cities split about $1.5 million annually from that RTIF collection. Currently, both cities have approximately $3.5 million in the bank of RTIF funds. Our $3.5 million is programmed for the Jepson Parkway Phase 2, which we hope to be able to get to bid later this late spring, early summer. And Fairfield has $3.5 million that is associated with their Jepson Parkway improvements associated with the road. Their project is scheduled, however, in a few years, 2025. The cities of Vacaville and Fairfield got together. Vacaville worked with our colleagues in the city of Fairfield and proposed that we shift $1.5 million of Fairfield's funds over to the city of Vacaville, which completes our funding gap and provides a full funding for our Jepson Parkway Phase 2 project. The city of Fairfield agreed to this shift because their project is 2 years away. The agreement that council is considering tonight would, over the next 2 years, the city of Vacaville's RTIF funds, approximately $750,000 per year, would be shifted back to the city of Fairfield over the next 2 years, completing that $1.5 million. If there's a shortfall, we would plug that gap, or that shortfall gap, with our local transportation impact fees, our TIF fees. We don't expect that to happen. There are some major benefits to this agreement. One, enhanced partnership between the City of Fairfield and the Solano Transportation Authority, leveraging the existing RTIF funding for a major regional project of significance. That's the Jepson Parkway project. Addressing the budget gap, of course, within our Jepson Parkway Phase 2 project. And finally, the big one, this is a funding exchange, not a loan. In terms of environmental, fiscal impact, and strategic goal, the Jepson Parkway project went through CEQA. A notice of determination was filed back in March 2009. There's no fiscal impact to this action. The $1.5 million that would be shifted from Fairfield to Vacaville completes our Jepson Parkway Phase 2 project. No additional funds are requested. For strategic goal, it's goal number 2, 3, and 4, strengthen the local economy, protect Vacaville's quality of life, and maintain effective and efficient services. Finally, the recommendation by simple motion, adopt the subject resolution. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Any questions from the council? Seeing none, I will open it to the public for comment. Seeing none, I will close public comment on this issue and bring it back to the council. Vice Mayor Wiley.
Yes, thank you for the presentation, and Jepson Parkway really needs to be improved, so I'm glad we've got that planned. And since this is an agreement, I guess it's binding on both sides. My question is, Cannon Road really needs to be improved as well. And if by some way Fairfield had money so that they could do it before 2025, because it really needs to be done now. I mean, we wouldn't be obligated to pay back our share before the terms of this MOU.
Correct.
Okay. And I'm going to push to get Cannon Road done too, just because that's the road that everyone travels to Vanden, and we've had several fatalities, and it's so narrow. So,
Right.
but I'm glad we've got this going. But let's push for Cannon Road too. I know, but 2025.
Any other? Before we take a second, I just wanted to make another follow-up comment on this. That is, the STA is working diligently on the Jepson Parkway. And I've been in contact with the mayor of Fairfield as well. And there's a lot of public comment on both sides. And so they're diligently working on safety issues on the Fairfield stretch. And clearly this falls in line with trying to improve the roadways in Vacaville. 1C will be after 1B. And there certainly is a desire on all fronts to expedite this because it benefits the safety of our community and our traffic. So thank you. With that, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Wiley, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Item 9B.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This next item is a resolution of the City Council authorizing the Director of Human Resources to implement a side letter agreement with the Vacaville Police Officers Association for mid-contract economic enhancements. We have Jessica Bose, Human Resources Director, and Ken Matsumiya, Finance Director, to present the item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Background on this item, the VPOA, Vacaville Police Officers Association MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, expires October 31st of 2024. Classifications covered under this MOU are police officer and dispatcher. The city does plan for an average number of separations citywide, whether that be retirements, resignations, or any other kind of separation. But unforeseen events over the past several years have, including COVID and nationwide civil unrest, have greatly impacted the policing profession specifically. We have experienced an increase in unplanned retirements, in resignations, and an unprecedented decline in qualified applicants for these positions due to people no longer wanting to enter this profession. Our average annual separations for police sworn was about 7%. That more than doubled in 2021. Almost a quarter of all separations citywide in the last 5 years have been of police sworn employees. And we've seen a 53% decrease in the applications for our academy graduate positions since 2018. Candidates are also openly sharing with us that they're declining our offers because they're receiving better offers for higher pay at other surrounding agencies. They're all things that we have not experienced in the past. Obviously, increased vacancies has an impact on our community. We currently have 17 police officer vacancies. This has resulted in the closure or suspension of the Community Response Unit crew. This also impacts other departments in the city, specifically Public Works, Parks and Rec. It has a direct impact on those departments and their personnel as well. The FBI task force has been suspended. It is a countywide task force that allows for our Vacaville PD to file cases on a federal level rather than locally when dealing with sex trafficking and fentanyl cases and gun cases. So it's a very important task force. We also have vacancies in many of our key divisions, such as patrol, traffic, special victims units, vice, community impact team, youth services, investigative services, and digital crimes. Obviously, this impact is not just on the people that we serve in this community, but it also has a negative impact on our staff overall. Increased mandatory overtime creates fatigue and increases the chances for injuries, and it lowers overall morale. In addition to the 17 police officer vacancies we currently have, we have 18 current sworn police that are eligible to retire in the next 3 years. Some of the efforts to address the staffing crisis have included an updated, enhanced website. We brought in professional staff to create a new video for our website. The recruitment team that's been developed in the police department, the chief has worked with his command staff to develop a recruitment team that also includes human resources, have traveled across the state and to colleges and community recruitment events. We've updated some internal policies that we felt would attract and retain more employees, such as allowing facial hair and tattoos and take-home vehicles. We've streamlined the hiring process. A lot of what we were hearing was that it was taking too long. We were losing good candidates because they were moving faster in another organization's process. And we've increased our regional advertising. And of course, this council approved a hiring incentive last year. While all those efforts have helped a little, it is still not enough to address our increasing vacancy rate and compete with surrounding agencies. Our recommended enhancements for this tonight for your consideration are a 6% equity adjustment to sworn and dispatch positions. This includes a compaction adjustment of 3.24% to the sergeant classification, which is covered under the Vacaville Police Managers Association. It's based on contractual compaction language. Also, the addition of a new senior police officer 1 level to retain and recruit lateral officers that can bring in specialty assignments and receive the pay earlier once they're off probation. This is similar to what we did with the Vacaville Firefighters Association. Would also increase the current level 1 to a level 2 and increase that from 5 to 6%, and change the current level 2 to a 3 and increase that from 10 to 11%. These changes, again, will recruit more experienced lateral police officers and help to retain those officers that we currently have. It might help keep somebody from retiring that was going to retire. It might keep them here a few more years, which would be very helpful. Also increased to the uniform allowance for sworn personnel from $1,200 to $1,800 a year. The remainder of the MOU would stay the same, no other changes. This would impact, approval of this item would address the following strategic goals and initiatives: Goal 1, 3, and 4, initiatives 4A, B, and C. Fiscal impact would be $674,000 for the current fiscal year, $2.3 million over the remaining term of the POA MOU, all general fund. And these costs do include the roll-ups to reflect increase in pension. Our recommendation is that by simple motion, you adopt the subject resolution, and we can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for the presentation. Are there anyone on the council that have any questions on the presentation before I open it up to the public? Councilmember Silva.
Thank you for the presentation. Some we talked about. My question is actually for Chief. So here we're offering a competitive salary, and so I guess what I'm asking is, can you share, in addition to a competitive salary, why should folks consider pursuing police as a profession? Why Vacaville?
Why consider police as a profession? It's a noble profession, and it continues to be. It's one that is dedicated in service, and I think Vacaville epitomizes that service heart. When you look at our staffing, the vast majority, over 80% of our police staff live in town. So there's that true vested interest in their community that they want to provide that excellent service, not just because they're getting a paycheck, but because this is where they live, this is where they coach, this is where they help in the classroom. One of the things that we've been focusing on is that we do recognize that Vacaville is home to a lot of officers that do work in other locations, down in the Bay Area specifically. And so we've had a motto of live, work, serve, which is, those folks that live here, the benefits of being able to serve and work in your own community that you live in are just, they're numerous. And the satisfaction that you get in this position, in this profession, I should say, is, it varies from department to department, but this department here really does care about this community because we're part of it. And so that's why I would say that Vacaville specifically is the place to be. Now that with this the competitive nature of our package is opening the floodgates to people to come work in Vacaville because they know it's a great town to live in, great town to work in.
Follow-up question. Where should someone, so if someone wants to pursue profession, police as a profession and have questions, where should
So we have a website, joinvacavillepd.com. That is our recruiting website. But if they just Google Vacaville Police or City of Vacaville, we have links on our city page, our Facebook page, our Instagram page, so all of our platforms. And if it comes down to it, just call the business line at 707-449-5200, and we will put you in touch with somebody.
Councilmember Stockton.
Yes, thank you for your comments, Chief. My question is, do we currently have openings that would allow citizens to be paid to go through the police academy, or are we only hiring laterals? Where are we at with the balance between those two?
No, we do open for trainees is the position that you're referring to, which would pay somebody to go through the academy. They'd be being paid during the academy and then would hopefully choose to stay with us after they graduate the academy. But yeah, we have trainee academy grads, so somebody that's already put themselves through or some other way has gone through the academy, and then laterals. So we have all three open.
Vice Mayor Wiley.
So it sounds like a lot of this is aimed toward getting laterals. So how do we also get more people interested before they've been in the academy? Or I don't know if that's the same thing you were talking about, the trainees.
So I can answer that, I think, for you, Vice Mayor. We've pretty much doubled our cadet program. It's been a well-run program for a very long time, but we now have new staff that's involved with that program, and they have done some incredible things to increase our enrollment. And we see that as the pipeline. Ultimately, it is tough to recruit in law enforcement nationwide. And so to recruit from within Vacaville, from the folks that live throughout this town, we have 100 and almost 5,000 citizens and a lot of youngsters that are interested in it. So we're now up to 30 cadets, which is a great place to be. We also have now a senior cadet program, which there was a gap when folks reach a certain age, they kind of time out of the cadet program, but they're not 21, so we can't put them in the police academy. And so we have this gap that we needed to fill. So we created this senior officer program where they work 20 hours a week within the police department, but they're required to go to school in addition to that. So we're looking at that as kind of the filling of the gap between the cadet program and getting folks in our academy.
When could they enter the?
14 years old is when it's the minimum age.
And so, like, how do half of them go on to the academy, or do 5 of them, or
I don't have
kind of depends on who's
statistics.
in the academy?
I
Yeah.
can tell you anecdotally, we've in years past, it was kind of, and this is many years ago, before pretty much everybody was on the council, but we had a difficulty, with positions being freed up. during the economic downturn. And so it was a little frustrating because we had this great cadet program, but they would end up going to work for other agencies. And so recently, we've now seen far more cadets that are getting into law enforcement, that are staying with us. We have one dispatcher who's been over 20 years, who was a cadet when I first started here. One that's a corporal, and several other examples of folks. So that's the new focus, and that's kind of been an industry change where the cadet programs are really a focus of departments to get their next generation.
I'll open this up to the public. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council. Before a motion, I'd just like to say thank you to Chief and to our police department, who's worked very diligently during both the pandemic and everything that is encountered in the last few years. To carry the burden, I know, has been because there's a real care and concern for our community. And it does become difficult when staffing is low to provide services. And so I know that public safety is the high priority for this council in our city, and looking forward to being able to hopefully recruit and also retain, because that's the issue, is being able to retain and to get us back to the staffing levels that are needed to address the issues. I understand when you're short, we saw the list, things get behind. So as quickly as we can, we need to get these services back up and running. So with that, I'll bring it back also to the council for a motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes. We will move on to item 10, reports of the Assistant City Manager. Thank you, Georgianne, for stepping in tonight.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. And with that, I'll bring it back to the council for reports from the City Council. Councilmember Silva.
Yeah. So first off, I've been impressed with your leadership the past month, 2 months. You've made a diligent effort to make sure you get feedback from all council members on different issues. So just want to appreciate my appreciation for that. Also want to let the public know that I'm also thankful for Mayor Carly for stepping in. There was a meeting that pertained to the Markham area that I wasn't able to attend. So he was able to fill in, and thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and then the other thing is Tuesday, this is for council members. I'm having a listening session. One's gonna be, both of these are gonna be. I have 2 upcoming listening sessions. One's on the 27th, but it's closed with the Narcotics Anonymous group. On Tuesday, this is for council. There's limited space, but this is at the request of the youth that are part of the PAL program at Vacaville. Tuesdays, it's right before our city council meeting, so I'm a little worried I'm gonna run late to this one. But if you all want to stop by between 5 to 5:30, we can meet and try to answer their questions. So that is February 28th at Vacaville, 5 to 5:30.
And if I can just add, if there's a majority of council that wants to go, we should probably work with the city manager's office.
How about we do that? We'll coordinate.
If you're interested, reach out to the city.
And that way we make sure we don't form a quorum at a meeting, but certainly a good reason to come out, part of that. So we'll coordinate that, and that way we won't violate anything, but certainly want to support it. So thank you. Anyone else on the council have any comments? All right. Well, this is Happy Valentine's Day. And so I just want to say thank you to my colleagues on the dais and staff, and certainly appreciate, as we're stepping into the new year, the opportunity to work well together, and look forward to more of it. So with that, there is no closed session tonight, and so we will adjourn. Good night, Vacaville.